Your dog sees a potential trigger in the distance. He knows this game. A cookie is coming. He looks back at you and gets a cookie. No need to be afraid of the trigger anymore. Jose here from Train Me Please. Today we explain the Look at That game. Let's go. This game was developed by Leslie McDevitt, author of the Control Unleashed books. The idea with this game is to keep the dog calm and collected in the presence of something that can be perceived to be scary or exciting. That something could be anything really: an unknown dog, a tall man with a hat, the mailman, etc. Basically, we teach the dog that looking at the scary thing produces something the dog loves. Food is the easiest tool to use here, and I recommend high-value treats for this. Pairing the scary thing or frustrating thing with something the dog really loves will change the dog's emotional response to the trigger and will make it less scary. Before you start, you will need to find a good spot and time for this. You can start at home with any object so that the dog starts to get an understanding of the game. When I am starting out, I like to choose a quiet time and location, and one that allows me to control the distance to the trigger really well. It is important to pick a spot where it is unlikely that something will sneak up on you and your dog. You can start at your front door or a quiet known location that fulfills the criteria I just mentioned. One more quick note before I explain how to play the game. It is very important that you can control the distance to the trigger. When in doubt, use more distance than you think you might need. This will ensure that the dog stays calm while you play the game. You want to keep your dog under threshold. This means that we do not have barking, lunging, growling, or even muscle tension. It also means that the dog is calmly taking treats from you. When you find that distance, you can start playing the game. Let your dog notice the trigger. When that happens, click or say yes and offer the dog a treat. Your dog should soon learn the game and just simply give the trigger a quick glance. The next step is to add a cue to this behavior, such as look or what's that? The dog will now start to look for potential triggers when you cue that behavior and then turn back to you for reinforcement. When that happens, click or say yes and offer a treat. You can now proceed to mix it up a little bit, perhaps a slightly different angle or a small change in distance from the trigger. Your sessions do not need to be long. Some sessions can even be as short as 3 or 4 repetitions. I've got a few more important tips about this game and a special bonus one for you coming up. Now, I also like to be reinforced for my efforts, so why don't you just quickly hit the like button under the video? Thanks a lot. The idea with this game is to have the dog calmly looking for potential triggers in expectation of a click and treat. This is a preferred behavior to the ones we usually see when the dog is reacting to something in the environment, such as barking or lunging. If for some reason the dog goes over threshold, you might try to give the dog a decent break before proceeding. But more often than not, I end up recommending to stop the session and resuming it on another day. It is 100% okay to not be perfect at this and to make a few mistakes. We are all human and we all make them. Apart from distance considerations, a dog that does not look back at you when you click might also require you to explore a little bit with your reinforcers. You may have to explore other options and find something that works better for your dog. A behavior professional and a good book would be the perfect companions to a behavior modification plan based on the Look at That game. I promised a bonus tip and here it is. Avoid always making the game more difficult. For example, if you walk towards the trigger a few times in a row, then do one repetition in which you walk away and increase distance. Do this even if the dog is doing super well and even if it looks like the dog does not need it. This is the concept of hard, hard, easy, hard, and it works really well. When teaching something, instead of just going hard and challenging repetitions each time, offering some easy ones with lower criteria can be super beneficial. Progressing with a behavior does not need to be a linear journey. If you want to support the work that I do here, why don't you buy me a coffee? It is super easy, link in the description below. This simple introduction to the Look at That game is a great start for reactive dogs, but there are several other factors you should consider and implement to really see the best results with this. This video here goes over some of those factors. I'll see you next time. Cheers!